Hey everybody, welcome to Northwoods Engineered. Today I'm going to be showing you the third version of the landscape rake that I've built for my ATV. The first one I did, a video I released a couple years ago. It was a flip over version, so it had wheels on one side and the rake on the other, and you had to flip it over to use it or back to the tires to haul it somewhere. The second version I made was an electric implement lift off the back of the hitch, and that was nice, but it was a little too slow. The electric actuator just took a long time to empty it. And then I guess back to the first version, that was also very manual when you were using it. If stuff built up in it, you had to get off and lift it. So I've come to this version, which has a handle on it and a rope hooked to the ATV, and if you're using it and it fills up with stuff, you just pull on the rope and you can empty it like that. So it's been working out pretty well for us. Main things I use it for are smoothing out like food plot areas after we've disced them up, which is what we're doing here. It's also nice to clear like brush and sticks out of a plot or off a trail like that as well. So keep watching the video. I'll show you how I took the landscape rake that I originally built and turned it into this. To begin the project, I needed to make a new tongue for the landscape rake. I was able to find some old scrap 2x2 steel laying around our shop up north, so we took that and started cutting it into the right length pieces. I was lucky enough to have my dad help me, as he is a master at making straight cuts on steel with portabands, so I was just the holder. After that, I took it outside, did a little surface grinding because there was quite a bit of rust on it. From there, started drilling some holes in order to put on the front hitch. And then after that, I cut a few pieces of flat bar steel to use as 45-degree supports between the longitudinal piece and the lateral piece of the tongue. Once I had all the pieces cut for the tongue, I was able to start welding them together. After all the welding was complete on the tongue, I started working on drilling some holes into it to mount the spring pins that will hold the rake up, which you will see later in the video. I then started working on the old part of the rake there that you can see that's still painted orange that held the tines. So I took all the tines off, and then I had to do a little grinding for where I was going to be doing some welding of some new tabs and just general cleanup of that old part. So that's a 2x3-inch angle iron piece. You can see that how I drilled all the holes in that and mounted them in the first video. After that, I took the parts to my friend Andrew's shop, and I got all my tabs cut off on a plasma table from a buddy, and I started welding all the pieces together on both the tongue and the rake portion. After all the welding was done on the old portion of putting all these tabs on there, I took the old part with the new tongue and connected it together with a couple 1/2-inch hitch pins, and those will be the pivot for where the rake rotates up, and everything fit up pretty nicely on first fit up, so I was pretty happy with it. So now I'm going to set up the handle that's going to be used for tipping the rake. I'm going to use a 1-inch piece of conduit. It's just something I have laying around. That way I don't have to buy something new. I'm going to pop a couple holes in it, and then that will interface with this tab right here. In order to drill those holes, I'm going to use this drill fixture that I made. It is a 3D printed fixture that I made for drilling holes through tubes. I have a separate video on that if you're interested in seeing it. I'll link that below in the description and also up above. So it's pretty handy if you need to drill holes all the way through or through just one side of a round tube. So that's going to be on this one it's 3/16, but the ones I'm going to have after this are 1/8 inch pilot hole, and then you upsize it to whatever size you need. So I'll measure the distance between the 2 holes on the rake, and I'll pop one more. Got the painting done of the 2 different parts for the rake, and now I'm going to start assembling the tines onto the rake. In my first video I had a lot of questions on whether or not I made these or where I got them. I did not make these tines. I bought them off Amazon. There's a link to them in the description of the video. I will say they were a lot cheaper back when I bought them a few years ago. So they're kind of spendy now, but you can also usually find these online at like Tractor Supply Store, or maybe your local fleet store as well will carry them. So I've got 20 tines. They're the single hole type, which I would also probably recommend getting the 2-hole version, which they also sell, just so they don't rotate. I think they would work a little bit better. So yeah, I'm gonna put these on next. So now I've got both pieces set up and ready to join together. I added that handle on to the rake part that I showed earlier. To connect them, I've just got these 1/2 inch hitch pins that I'm going to be using. And then when I'm using it, I will put a rope on the top of this handle and run it up to the front of the 4-wheeler, so that when you want to empty it out, you just pull on the rope and it lifts up and you can empty it out. And then when you're traveling and you don't want it down, you've got the spring pins, and those go through and hold it up. So next up, I'll show you how it works. Hey, thanks for watching my video today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment below or feel free to shoot me an email. My email is listed in my About page. Also, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more of my content in the future.